What's up, everybody? Welcome to Philly with John Marks on PHLY. As always, presented by Bet Parks and Central City Toyota. Well, Broad Street was packed last night. It was awesome to see. What a great day. What a great season this has been so far. Anybody else, I see a lot of people on our chat. Good morning, everybody on our Mad Chatters. We're live every morning on YouTube from 8 to 9 a.m. Smash the subscribe button if this is the first time that you're seeing us. Subscribe, like, comment. Join us live at 8 o'clock. Get involved in the chat, everything else. But, I'm at a point of exhaustion after just waiting for yesterday's game. And thank God it was the early game. And you get the win, and it's, oh, thank God. And then then I'm watching TV, and I'm reading every website. I swear, I've read every website on the World Wide Web, as we once called it. Everything. I need to see every piece of information, every story that says how great the Eagles are. And screw you, national media. Because, yes, the Eagles can win by running the football. They had 7 rushing touchdowns yesterday. Come on. They've mastered a quarterback sneak. It coined its own name. Other teams can't do it. They had 7 rushing touchdowns yesterday. Saquon Barkley, first touch of the game. He's just like a friggin' video game. Bing, bing, bing. Spin, break, tackle, boom, touchdown. It's it got a little interesting there in the second quarter. But, man, I am just I'm overwhelmed. And Bob Cooney's coming up in about 20 minutes. And Bob's he's probably a generation or a half generation older than me. My first memory in life was the Phillies winning the World Series in 1980, and then I remember the Eagles losing to the Raiders, which would have been in January, I guess, or February of 1981. And then the Eagles were known for having great, talented players later on in the 80s. Reggie White, Jerome Brown, Randall Cunningham, all those great defenses. They didn't sniff any kind of postseason success. They couldn't even win a playoff game until Rich Kotite came in. So, always we're going to win a Super Bowl. We're going to win a Super Bowl. I swear, before they won the Super Bowl, I never thought this friggin' team was going to win a Super Bowl. I thought I was totally cursed. My grandfather used to tell me this team's never going to win a Super Bowl. Before he died, he never saw it, right? And I just thought it'd be the same way. And then, even with Andy Reid, and he changed the franchise around, and Jeffrey Lurie's a great owner, they still couldn't get it done. And then when it finally happened in Minnesota, you ripped the Band-Aid off. You really did. That was it. And now, third Super Bowl in 8 years. I'm speechless. Pinch yourself, Eagles fans. Listen, and they're not going anywhere anytime soon. This is a talented team. You know what I saw a lot of last night? Howie Roseman's the best GM in sports, not even the NFL, the best GM in sports. And listen, there's an argument for it. There is. This franchise is an elite sports franchise. And now they got to go out and they got to beat one of the best teams, best runs. I don't know if they're one of the best teams. They just win. But on one of the best runs ever, be going for a three-peat for the first time. It is amazing. It is amazing to be a Philadelphia Eagle fan right now. Tyler Zulli, good morning to you. I saw you last night. You were on a pole on Broad Street. You were sliding down.
You weren't supposed to see that. That was me time.
I know. It was. I didn't even think about when the Phillies won in 2008. I was working, so I made it to Broad Street, but it probably wasn't for another 90 minutes or 2 hours. I don't remember. So I didn't get the initial burst of everybody going on Broad Street. And then when the Eagles won, I was watching the game with my kids and stuff.
I was on the air at the Fanatic at the time. We did an in-game show. So by the time I got out of the studio and everything, it was most of the fun had already happened. Yeah. So it was last night was fun, John. It was. And like you said, you're watching it with your kids. It was so different for me because in years past NFC Championship games, I'm at a party, I'm at a get-together, I'm working. Yeah. Last night it was me, my wife, my son. And that was it. And it was everything that I could have asked for, right? Because I got to watch an NFC Championship game with my son. And I said to him, he's 3 months old. He doesn't know what I'm saying. But I said to him, hey, buddy, you've got one of two things are going to happen. You're either 3 months into your life, the Eagles are going to the Super Bowl, or you're going to understand at a very young age what heartbreak feels like. Yeah. And thankfully, it was the former instead of the latter. But, I mean, it was a beatdown. It was an absolute beatdown by this Eagles team. As you said, that many rushing touchdowns. The run game was successful.
7 rushing.
There's so much to talk about in this game.
And we're going to try to talk about it all without forgetting stuff.
But
yes.
Just a night where by the fourth quarter, you brought up on Friday, like, we're not going to put our feet up, but they're going to win comfortably. We put our feet up. That's what happened in this game. We put our feet up.
Bro, and believe, and I guess this is a happy birthday to my wife, by the way.
Oh, happy birthday.
She is 29 years old today. But we were still doing the same thing. It wasn't until, because they come down and score a touchdown pretty easy. And now I'm pissed. Fangio, what the freak are you doing? They went into a prevent in the third quarter. And they get it to, what was the score here? 34-23. They went 70 yards in under 4 minutes. And the Eagles punt. And it's 34-23 after they went down, scored a touchdown. And I'm being like, Jesus, what are we doing? I'm doing the slow motion thing. I'm watching it in slow motion. Now they punt the ball back. Washington goes down, scores, 2-point conversion. Now they're only down 3. So I'm freaking out. And then was that the Eckler fumble? What fumble? There was a fumble there that, yes, it was the Oren Burks. He had a really good game too. He caused the fumble. Yeah. So then they go down and score a touchdown. It's 41-23. And then the ball game's essentially over. Like you said, Tyler, so many things to talk about with this game. I got to start with Nick Sirianni. He was on the hot seat not long ago. I remember being here doing a show. I can't imagine what it was like on talk radio, but doing a show being like, hey, you're 2-2. You lose this. Was it the Saints game that was like, if you come out, because the Saints look like they had a devastating defense, and the Saints game is like, you lose this game, you might get fired. They had the Browns. You didn't realize the Browns were going to be as bad as they were. But Nick Sirianni was very much on the hot seat. I don't think that was just external. I think inside the building, Nick Sirianni got fired after last year. Do I think he was close to getting fired? I think it would have been tough to fire him. But based on what happened last year in 2023, how it was such the collapse was, historic. Historic collapse. You start 10-1 and you lose like that in the wild card round and get blown out. Yeah, it looks like you have a relationship with the quarterback that's not good, and you start off a little bit slow. There's a lot of talk locally. Nationally, they were calling him a clown. ESPN was calling him a clown. And all this team does is go on a run, post-bye, and just, man, they haven't looked back since. And it is impressive. And got to give them credit. At some point, people just have to say, all right, whatever he's doing, it's working. Even he's not calling plays or whatever. No one ever says that about Mike Tomlin or guys that win without calling plays. But Nick Sirianni's team, and they're very talented. Again, shout out to Howie Roseman. Nick gets them going. He does. And the turning point of the game for me, and I want to pull it up and try to do it right here, was, and again, so they're up. Let me pull it up here. So they're up 14-6, and they're driving, and Jalen Hurts gets sacked. 3rd and 6 from the Washington 27. You're thinking let's get a touchdown here. And Washington was effective when they blitzed, and they did a couple times yesterday, and it worked. And Hurts gets sacked, loses 9 yards. Now it's a 4th and 15. And Jake Elliott's got to go for a 54-yard field goal. And there's no way you can go for it there. You're not going to punt it. Elliott misses the 54-yard field goal. And Washington gets the ball back, and they drive for a touchdown. They don't get the 2-point conversion, but still it's 14-12. Now I'm starting off the game thinking maybe this is going to be a relatively easy win. Now it's 14-12, and the momentum is shifted to Washington. Eagles go on a drive. It's 4th and 5. They go 3rd and 5, incomplete. Now it's 4th and 5. You're at the Washington 45-yard line. There is 2 minutes and 14 seconds left. So 2 minutes and 14 seconds left. You're up by 2. You're at the Commanders' 45-yard line, 4th and 5. And they go for it. And I thought it was the right move, and I thought it was a ballsy call. There would have been no arguing. If you would have punted it, you try to punt them and pin them back deep because you're getting the ball to start the second half. and Washington doesn't score. But I didn't want to give Washington the ball back at any point in that half. And he went for it 4th and 5. So ballsy decision to go for it. And a great play call. You could throw it up to essentially to A.J. Brown and throw a one-on-one. 50-50 ball. And it was a great pass by Jalen Hurts. A perfect pass from Jalen Hurts. A.J. didn't have to fight for it, although I'm sure he helped body him out. First down, 1st and 10 at the Washington 14. That was the turning point in the game. Because if you don't convert that, you just gave Jayden Daniels, who just marched down the field on your defense, and the defense was on the field a lot in the beginning of the game. They score a touchdown there. Now it's 19 or 20 to 14 going into the half. Meanwhile, they convert the 4th down. They get a touchdown. Now it's 20 to 12. Kickoff, fumble on the kickoff. Eagles recover. They score another touchdown, 27 to 12. And that was right. And that was not the end of the game, but that was it. You think about the momentum swing right there from a 4th and 5 in Washington. In Washington territory, 45-yard line. Tyler, was a ballsy call, man. And by the way, right now is when we normally go in the headlines, brought to you by Dr. Paul Glatt, GlattMCTR.com if you want beautiful hair like mine, or call him 610-980-4000.
It was, and I'll add to this. It was a bold call at the time, a perfectly thrown pass from Jalen Hurts, a well-executed route by A.J. Brown. The pass was thrown where only A.J. Brown was going to catch it. A.J. Brown did a nice job of maneuvering the sideline and getting around his defender. And I have to say this, and I know we're talking about a decision by Nick Sirianni, but Jalen Hurts was excellent yesterday. Was absolutely excellent yesterday. And it felt like he was going to be at least good, but maybe even great from the opening drive when he rolled out to his right. And there was a pass. It was a quick hit. It was right to Dallas Goedert. He was open, right? It was the right read, the right throw at the right time. But he moved well. His knee didn't look like it was going to be a problem. And he delivered a strike. The next play, A.J. Brown, I think there was a pass to A.J. Brown and Devontae Smith, one of the two. I forget who it was, but he was sharp. And I thought that Jalen Hurts yesterday was decisive. I thought Jalen Hurts yesterday was poised. I thought Jalen Hurts yesterday was accurate and his decision-making was excellent. I have to give a ton of credit to Jalen Hurts because he said all week leading up to the game, you win games in different ways. Different games call for different scripts and different game plans. And yesterday when the Eagles needed Jalen Hurts, not that the running game wasn't amazing. They scored 7 times on the ground. But when they needed Jalen Hurts to move the ball, Jalen Hurts was, I thought, played one of his best games of the season. He was, all those words that I used to just to describe him there, he was all of that and more. Game. I thought that was Jalen Hurts' best game of the year. Passing the football, he was a dual threat quarterback from the jump. He moved well. He was decisive. Ball got out of his hands quickly a lot of times. And the couple of times he did take a sack, like the 3rd down one that pushed him out of field goal range,
no shot.
Wasn't on him.
Yeah, it was just a blitz.
It was a jailbreak blitz that worked on them. I thought he was excellent yesterday.
Yeah, it's kind of disappointing. I was looking forward to hearing 2 weeks of Jalen Hurts isn't good enough for the Eagles to win. Right? Like, doesn't this kind of take one of the aces out of our hand? Now everybody's going to praise Jalen Hurts and say, no, he is the greatest thing ever. He can throw the ball. No, I want to keep it where he can't throw the ball. And they can't win like this. He was great. He didn't even look like he had any injury on the knee. He was running with confidence. The biggest thing with him throwing yesterday was he was decisive and confident in his throws. Held the ball maybe a couple, like Tom Brady pointed it out a couple times where he was holding the ball a little bit too long. But man, he had confidence yesterday as a thrower. He did. He looked great.
No, my bad. HC makes a good point in the chat. HC says, don't praise Hurts. He feeds off the doubt. Oh, so, my bad. You know what?
No, it's true.
He wasn't any good yesterday. Eagles won not in spite of him.
See, you can't go to, like, Hurts should just wear a dog mask because he's the one that's the underdog. Because everybody else on the Eagles, they love. The offensive line, Saquon Barkley, obviously, the defense. Jalen looked great yesterday.
He was excellent yesterday.
1 TD pass, 3 rushing touchdowns, and no turnovers. No turnovers again. Again, look at that. He actually has. Did I just read this or did I actually put it down? The amount of rushing touchdowns this dude has in his career is like 20 behind the all-time leader, Cam Newton. He's 26 years old, right? And so it's like. I'm gonna have to find it at some point during the show, but he has the most all-time rushing touchdowns from a quarterback in the postseason history. It's amazing. Saquon Barkley. I mean, what do you need to say about him? Set the tone with the opening run. 442 rushing yards, 5 touchdowns, almost 7 yards a carry. That's on top of running for over 2,000 yards in the regular season. Jesus. It's every time he gets the ball, you're just looking for him to pop it. You can see it happening too on that first play of the game where he had a lot of room, and you're like, uh-oh. Such great vision. You saw it when you watched him play with the Giants, but I'm not watching every Giants game. I'm watching Red Zone or whatever. So you see him, but watching every snap that he's taking, every run that he's had this year, now you can see where it's like, uh-oh, his vision's unbelievable. He is so patient, waiting to where he wants to go. And when you have speed like that, God, man, we're literally witnessing one of the great seasons of any Eagle ever. If not, is this the best season of an Eagle player ever? Saquon Barkley going to the Super Bowl. I don't know how you say it's not. Oh my God. Just so much fun. So much fun. My favorite, we get 2 minutes left in this segment. My favorite point of the game was the tush push situation, Tyler, where like at that point, the Commanders know if they get a touchdown, the game's over. That was their last stand.
Sure.
And it's a play that can't be stopped for the most part. If you give them a couple downs, it's not going to be stopped. And they're trying to time it. They're trying to dive over the pile. They were trying to swat the ball away before it even got to Hurts. He actually fumbled the one that he was able to recover down there. But I didn't know this rule. Sean Hockley gets on the mic and says, "Oh, we can give them a touchdown if you keep doing this." I'm like, what? This is wild.
Yeah, and the funny thing is too, I see a lot of people on Twitter, and the conversation is either ban the tush push or what was Washington supposed to do or blah blah blah. You know what's funny? I actually don't have any issue with what Washington did.
Not at all.
Trying to jump the count. You know, it's one of those, like, if you ain't cheating, you ain't trying type of sports moments. Like,
otherwise, you just let them score.
Right, where you're trying to, like, legally break the rules, if that makes any kind of sense. I don't have any issue with Luvu jumping the snap or them trying to, like, swat at the snap just to try to gain some semblance of an advantage because it is a dominating play. I also think I don't know if it was Nick Sirianni's call. I don't know if it was Kellen Moore's call. I don't know if it was Jalen Hurts' call. I don't know if it was a combination of everybody's call. I also think what they did, saying, yeah, okay, we're just going to hard count you, and you come flying over the line again, and we'll move the ball up another 3 inches. That's on you if you're going to continue to jump the line. I just thought it was a chess match within the game there, and Washington was losing the chess match in that situation.
Not really a whole lot you can do. My wife was asking me, she's like, well, how? I'm like, they're not getting penalized anything. It's going up. There's nowhere else to go. And I guess that's why you have to have the rule where we can award you a touchdown. What they're doing, but it was smart by Washington. That was it, man. They scored a touchdown right there. You're not coming back, and they knew it. What do they care at that point? So that was pretty funny. But oh my God, the belly aching and the whining about the officiating. All right, I'll raise my hand. I thought the Eagles got some calls yesterday. Guess what? They're the team at home that has been pretty much in the postseason. They've been the 3rd Super Bowl in 8 years. The home team with the better record normally gets the calls. And we're not talking about anything ridiculous. We're not talking about Pat Mahomes crap here. You know, we got some favorable calls. Oh, screw you, Washington. You guys haven't been a factor in friggin' decades. Welcome to the playoffs. You had a great year. We'll see you again because your quarterback's a stud. What? Even Brian Mitchell whining like a baby about the officiating and the whole, Sean Hockley wants the Eagles to win. Oh, shut up. God. All right, coming up, Bob Cooney. He's ready to go. Man, what a game. Bob on the Eagles, early thoughts on the Super Bowl, everything else. Our buddy Bob Cooney is coming up right after this. Philly, John Marks. PHLY. Hoo-ah! All right, listen. My team at Parks Casino 2025. My casino of choice. We've already started rolling out the great headline entertainment for the new year. Concerts, comedy, MMA, boxing. at the state-of-the-art Excite Center, plus thousands of state-of-the-art slots, live table games, and a beautiful poker room, which I've played at many times. Entertainment and exciting. Parx Casino, this is how you win. Pennsylvania's #1 casino. Tickets on sale right now for these headliners. Cole Swindell, that's February 7th, which is 2 weeks away. Jerry Cantrell from Alice in Chains, February 8th. Scotty McCreery from American Idol, March 7th. Magician Michael Carbonaro, March 8th. Show added for comedian Ron White, that's March 20th. Country superstar Lee Brice, March 22nd. Larry the Cable Guy, May 16th. Don't forget, dinner and drinks before the show at Parks Grill Steakhouse, Liberty Bell Gastropub, and Beer Garden, or the Bamboo Noodle House. ParksCasino.com to buy tickets for all shows. Parks Casino, this is how you win. You must be 21. Gambling problem? Call 1-800-GAMBLER. All right, Glatt Hair Restoration. I'm headed up to see the girls, the Glatt Hair team, Glatt Hair Restoration team on Thursday this week, because I need to stop by and be like, all right, what's going on out there? What are people saying? What are the phone calls you're getting? What are a lot of the questions that you have, right? It's good to get feedback on what people are saying, right? Am I making the phones ring at 610-980-4000? If you're balding, if your hair's thinning, and like two things I want to make clear about this. If you were to have a hair restoration procedure, you don't have to, people don't need to know that you had it done. Unless you're like Phil Martelli bald, then people will be like, hang on a second, what's going on here, right? But if you're thinning and balding, and like I was, they don't have to know. You can get the procedure done and literally tell nobody. And like, I don't want to give out information, but there's a lot of people that I know professionally and personally that have had this done and told nobody except their immediate family. And no one knew. No one said anything. Their hair just looks great. And also, there's a ton of other options out there if you don't think hair restoration is for you. Or when you meet with the Glatt team, they're going to tell you whether it makes sense at this point to get hair restoration. They might tell you hang on. It may not be worth it to do it right now. You might want to wait a little bit. Here's some other options that we have, like vitamin supplementation, which is very popular and very effective right now. PRP and stem cell restoration. A TED treatment, which is like PRP, but a little bit different, right? You're getting great results right here. So when I go and I get my before and after pictures twice a year, every year, I always want to see what this one looks like, because that's an indicator. It's not about it looking you like growing hair. It's about not losing any more hair. So if your hair looks the same that it did the year before, win. It means you didn't lose any hair. That's what you're trying to do here. Glatt Hair Restoration, 610-980-4000, or their website's glatthairmctr.com. That's GLAT hair, mctr.com. All right, we're back. You might have heard that the Eagles won last night. Most points scored ever in an NFC Championship game. I was actually at the game that they scored more points. It was the 1995 wildcard game against the Lions. I think they put a 58 burger on them. And that was the famous Lomas Brown, he guaranteed a win game for the Lions. Is Bob ready to go? Bob Cooney, longtime voice in Philadelphia. And he is in the locker room, which is sponsored by Valley Forge Tourism. Winter weekend getaways, family-friendly affordability that awaits you in Valley Forge in Montgomery County, Pennsylvania. So much to offer in Montco and Valley Forge. Must-see historical sites, tons of family attractions, a vibrant art scene, outdoor activities, shopping, and more. And it's only 18 miles from downtown Philly. It's right there. Take the kids. So many things to do. ValleyForge.org can help you discover hidden gems, endless activities, and tons of places to stay in Montco. Get started planning that next getaway today. ValleyForge.org. Make it family time and make it Montco. As Bob Cooney joins us this morning. What's up, Bob?
How are you, buddy? Everything good?
Man, everything's great. I said this to start the show so I think you're like half a generation ahead of me. I don't want to.
I heard you. I heard you. I didn't appreciate it, but I heard you.
Well, I
like your wife. I celebrated a birthday yesterday, and I turned 29 also.
Really? Well, happy belated, bro.
Oh, thank you so much.
So like, all right. So you remember you remember the Eagles Super Bowl team in '80. Probably a little bit to where I just remember being at a Super Bowl party or whatever. But you go from a pretty good run. They weren't 5 years being a great team back then.
No.
And like you're probably too young to really appreciate it, to Marion Campbell, which sucked, to Buddy, which was fun, but they didn't win anything, in the Rich Kotite where you said, holy crap, this guy's going to blow it. And then free agency started. Norman Brayman, worst owner in Philadelphia sports history, at least my lifetime. And it became more about, wow, waste of talent than actually winning. And then you get Andy and Donovan, and that was a great run. They didn't win a Super Bowl, and you didn't really feel good about that, right? Like, you love those teams, but did you love Andy? Did you love Donovan? Whatever. And then the last 8 years, man, 3 Super Bowls. They need another one this year, and I think they're going to get it. But man, like, pinch yourself, Bob. For all you spoiled youngsters out there, Bob and I didn't grow up with a bunch of fun and a bunch of great teams. There was a major drought right in the middle of there, Bob Cooney.
Yeah, I remember playoff game, John, you'll remember this, playoff game against the New Orleans Saints where Jeff Garcia was the starting quarterback. Remember that? Big hit at the beginning of the game on Bush. We had a party at our house. At the time, my third child, who was 8 years old, after the game, comes over to me and starts crying and says, "Oh my gosh, they're never going to win a Super Bowl." And I felt like wringing his neck, saying, "You have no clue, dude." But you know what? You know what's changed with this organization, John? And you know what about culture when it comes to whether it's college, pro, whatever the sport may be, even high school. Teams, organizations, schools, they have a culture. They know how to win. They know what it takes to win. Back in the years that you were talking about, John, and this includes Andy Reid, they didn't learn how to win that big game, and they barely learned how to get to that big game, as great as they were. And I've talked to Brian Westbrook about this. There is a mental thing to it. Well, now this organization knows what it takes to get to a Super Bowl. They know how to get to a Super Bowl, and they know how to win a Super Bowl. I mean, there's still guys left over from the 17-18. There's guys left over that know the pain of losing to Kansas City in the Super Bowl, but they know how to get there. This organization is just, they're there. They're getting up there with any other great organization that you want to talk about in all the sports, whether it be like the San Antonio Spurs back in the day. And no, they don't have those championships yet, but they are growing that culture of they know what it takes to get there. And hopefully after, 2 weeks from now, if we're talking, they know how to win championships also.
Man, it is, it's weird seeing, and everybody, by the way, everybody hates the Eagles and the Chiefs being the teams in the Super Bowl. No, who wants to root for the Eagles? They're fans, annoying fans, and the tush push and everything else like that, which is great. I love it. But you know what you're seeing? You're seeing Giants fans, for the most part, and Dallas fans almost rooting for the Eagles to spite their own team. What Jerry Jones has done down in Dallas, they have a radio host down there that's calling it almost like a radio bit, what Jerry Jones is doing with the Cowboys right now, which is so accurate. And then the Giants watching Saquon Barkley. I mean, like, at this point, if you're a Giants fan, aren't you rooting for Saquon Barkley to be the Super Bowl MVP? Just to shove it up Mara and Tish's behind, to be like, this is how an organization is supposed to be run. That's what fan bases of the other teams are saying. Like, oh man, I hate their fans. God, that's a great organization. That's the Eagles, Bob Cooney.
It really is. And do we take things for granted a little bit? Sure. I mean, you and I have been in the business for a long time, whether it's fans, radio hosts, writers. Sometimes do we take things for granted here in Philadelphia? I think you make a great point, John. And maybe because Dallas is on, the downslide so bad, and the fact that you got Saquon Barkley from the Giants, maybe it makes fans really appreciate this organization even more, to see how badly run 2 out of the 4 organizations in the conference are. And yeah, is there a little stake in the in your side that Josh Harris is the owner? Oh, that did they show him yesterday at all, John?
I thought about it this morning. I didn't see him one time.
I didn't think so. The game got done. I had a bunch of friends over last night to watch the game, and the game got done. And I turned to one of my buddies and I said, "I don't think they showed Josh Harris today." Good on Fox. Is that what it was on? Good on Fox for not doing it.
Conspiracy. And this is probably BS. Did the Sixers not want that out there? Because, what does Josh Harris care? If you're Fox, why wouldn't you have played that angle up?
Exactly. Right now, I'll admit, I didn't sit and watch 2 hours of pregame shows and stuff like that. Like I said, I'd over and all that. That's an obvious, if I'm a boss over at Fox or anywhere, yeah, that's one of my stories. Hey, we need to get Josh Harris.
You find him, you find where he's sitting, and you have the camera on him, and you do a couple shots. I mean,
right. Some of the people that PR people with the Sixers, I think, are also with Josh Harris.
They are.
The Josh Harris business aspect of it. So, and they're good at their job. So maybe they got in touch with Fox and said, no, we're not doing this. We'd rather downplay it. Okay, so that's what they did. But it was just, yesterday was just incredible, John. And it was funny. Washington goes down and scores, takes like 7 minutes off the clock. I turned to my buddies and I'm like, what do you think? They're like, it's good. It's cool. And we're not like the positive, oh, rah, rah, rah. We're realists. But we were like, yeah, this is cool. And then one play and Barkley goes 60 yards.
So you because there was 2 points I was worried yesterday. One was that when it was 14-12, and it's actually probably the biggest point of the game. Sirianni goes for it on 4th and 5. There's 2 minutes to go in the first half. If they don't convert, Washington gets the ball in a short field. Eagles get the ball coming out of the half, right? But Washington gets the ball at the short field. They score a touchdown there. It's 18, 19, 20-12 or 20-14. And now you're like, well, Jesus. It felt like it was going to be a little bit of a walk here early in the first half. And then when they went down 11 after Washington just marches right down the field, under 4 minutes scores a touchdown. It's 34-23 at that point. But like the Eagles, every time they've needed an answer, they get it. And they're doing it in different ways. Bob, we talked about like Jalen Hurts, nationally Jalen Hurts, locally Jalen Hurts. He comes out yesterday and he has the game that we've seen Jalen Hurts have in big games. You brought up Donovan earlier, and it's funny, and it's probably not fair, but when I think of Donovan in playoffs, I don't think about great moments. I think about bad moments, right? And with Jalen, you do the opposite. And it sucks because now they're not going to be able to say Jalen's not good enough to win a Super Bowl for 2 weeks, which is what we've been doing for I don't know how many weeks now. But he was excellent yesterday. Jalen was great yesterday, and this team, I don't know how they lose. I mean, this is a complete, very good team, probably the best team I've seen in all my years.
Yeah. You know what's amazing, John? You bring up that the lead gets down to 11, and are you worried? Like Nick Sirianni going for the field goal, I wasn't a fan of. I would have rather pinned back instead of missing a 54-yarder. But whatever. We're always going to question some things, which I've done with you over the last few weeks. But yesterday, if you look at it, they really didn't have a center playing. I mean, Juergens goes in there, could barely move. They outscored Washington 21-0 in the fourth quarter. Like, that's a dominant team to me. Like, the game gets done yesterday, and I'm going over some stats and stuff, and you're thinking, wow, there were some injuries there. It was a tough football game. Like, Washington hits. They hit pretty good. It's a tough football game. And then you look and you see that 21-0 in the fourth quarter. That's resiliency. That's wearing a team down. That shows – I mean, that's an NFC Championship game, John. They put up 55 points. And we can't overlook this. They held Washington.
Oh. That happens.
23 is 23. You know, like that was a good defensive game by the Eagles yesterday. Yeah, how do you beat them? What do you do if you're Kansas City? All right, we're going to stop the run. Okay, give me a healthy A.J. Brown and Devontae Smith. And I thought Kellen Moore, because you and I talked about this before, John. I think Kellen Moore called a really, really good game yesterday.
Yeah, good point. I wish they would have saved the Dallas Goedert handoff wrinkles because they were using them in the second half. They were doing end arounds with Devontae. It's like, hang on a second. Oh, they got some creativity in this game plan this week, Bob.
I got to tell you, John, I've been wondering that and I don't think I related to you on the show here over the few weeks, but I've been wondering if the offense was holding some things back because, you and I talked about it like 3 weeks ago after, Jalen Hurts just doesn't look great. He needs to do more. And we were saying, why don't they run the short stuff? Why aren't they getting the ball to Goddard more? Why aren't they running the slants and all? I wonder if Kellen Moore's like, this team's so good, we can run the ball. We'll hold off on that stuff, and then maybe they showed some of it yesterday. I don't know, but it was an all around fun game to watch yesterday.
I've never seen a situation that happened that like it in the fourth quarter with Washington so desperate because they know if they give up a touchdown there, it's over, and they're up against a play that you can't on one down you can't stop it. If you give the Eagles multiple downs, they're going to score a touchdown on the tush push.
Yeah.
And they're trying everything. They emptied out the chamber trying to stop that. They're trying to time it and diving over the pile multiple times. And then Sean Hockley's threatening to award the Eagles a touchdown if it continues. Yesterday had a little bit of everything, and that was an interesting point in the game.
Yeah, it was. I never heard that rule. That was funny. I was shocked, and you brought it up earlier, I think. I was shocked at the reaction on Twitter of people complaining about the refereeing yesterday. Like, really? The Eagles put up 55 points. You're going to say the refs had what? A hand in 20 of them, 21 of them? Well, guess what? You still lost the game, Washington. I didn't see that at all. I liked it early on. They didn't call anything. They were letting them play early on.
Both
That's
teams.
fine with me. You remember the Super Bowl, John, when the Eagles beat the Patriots? That was Gene Steratore and his crew. They didn't call much in that game. They let them play, and it was one of the most entertaining and well-played Super Bowls that we've seen in a long time. I love that. Let them play. If it's egregious, of course, you have to call it. But let them play for the most part, and I thought they did that yesterday.
Defense forced 4 turnovers, and, man, it felt like all of them were backbreakers for Washington. So, like, down now, are we not allowed to count the turnovers when because last week it was like, well, you can't put the long runs and you can't use the turnovers because then they would have lost. Are we allowed to count these?
I guess so. I mean, it was fun. I've never seen the Eagles ball punch as much as they did yesterday, and I think it was the Fox team said that Nick Sirianni really made that a point of interest throughout the week. That when you're going to tackle, let's look for some ball punches, and they got them, and they did really well there yesterday. And Quinyon Mitchell, man, he is a stud. He is a stud. It was funny. One of my friends yesterday said, as we were watching the game, oh, they're trying to go after the Eagles' best D-back, and he was talking about Slay. And I looked at him, I go, he ain't their best D-back. I'm sorry. No offense to Slay, but Quinyon Mitchell is the real deal. McLaurin was virtually unseen yesterday.
Yeah, the one touchdown grab.
Yeah, but I don't even think – I think that was on Slay also. I don't think that was on Mitchell.
It was.
Yeah.
And Slay played well, too. Slay had a good game.
Oh, God, yeah. I'm not putting him down at all. I'm just – they are
Cooper
really,
DeJean
really
had a good game.
Good.
Right, like you're seeing 2 rookies not make mistakes in games. In coverage guys, not defensive linemen, coverage guys not making mistakes. How like in the years of watching football, you can think of veterans making mistakes, busted coverage, things like that. This team is technically sound. This defense is unbelievable. 10 takeaways in the postseason so far. Guess how many turnovers in the postseason, Bob?
They don't have one, I guess.
0. That's a pretty good formula for winning. 10 takeaways, 0 turnovers. And
I liked yesterday that they attacked an apparent weakness. Look, we know Washington can't stop the run, so they did that very, very well.
After him.
They also went to Dallas Goedert an awful lot.
Yes, they did.
And whether that was something that they saw in Washington and decided to attack, or like we were talking about earlier, John, was it a way to get Jalen Hurts going? Was it a way to, all right, look, here's your blanket, here's your pacifier. Throw the ball, quick, easy plays to Dallas Goedert and get him going in that way. Whatever it was, like I said, I got to give kudos to Kellen Moore yesterday because I thought he called an excellent game.
Man, and Dallas Goedert gets underrated because he just doesn't get the touches. He doesn't get the targets during the regular season. You see a game like this, he's a beast. He's an absolute beast.
It's the exact word that was being used here yesterday when he made a couple catches and ran a couple guys over and didn't go down. He's a beast. It's okay that he was the second best tight end on the field yesterday because that couldn't have played out any better. That Zach Ertz had such a wonderful game. Good for you. Great game by you. We'll see you later. Go back home to Washington.
Yep. Bob, we'll talk next week before the big game, man.
You got it.
I'm all right, buddy.
Here.
There he is.
All right, thanks. Appreciate
the great Bob Cooney in the locker room. He wasn't actually in a locker room right there, though. I think he was at his house. That would have been weird. Actually, that's a good idea. All the guests must be in a locker room.
Somebody to an empty locker room?
Well, it doesn't have to be empty. There could be nude people, I guess, walking. The old guys that just can't wait to get nude in the locker room. Of course, that's not our locker room report because we wouldn't want that. Anyway, coming up, a very uncomfortable long hug between Zach Ertz and Fletcher Cox. And I wanted to play it because he brought up Zach, and what a freaking game he had yesterday, man. God, even this deep into his career, he is He's a stud.
They targeted him 16 times yesterday, and he caught 11 of those passes.
Every third down, it seemed like, especially early.
Slant routes over the middle.
It's unbelievable. And whatever other leftovers we have, including Yabusele at the game and Paul George trying to drive through Broad Street traffic. What is he doing? All right, that's all coming up. Philly. John Marks, 2-2. PHLY. Yeah, what else can I say? Hoo-ah! That's what I like to say. All right, Rothman. It is such a pleasure to talk about Rothman because I get juiced up talking about Rothman Orthopedics because having a personal story of Rothman really just fixing my shoulder, man. I had a shoulder bother me for probably for like a year. It was a 7 out of 10, then an 8 out of 10. Then I was like, I have to go get it fixed. It's not going to get better by itself. And I wish I wouldn't have waited a year because it took one appointment at Rothman. And it was like, you have a frozen shoulder. I was thinking cortisone shots and MRIs and torn rotator cuffs. Like, no, you have a frozen shoulder. I'll write you a script for PT. You can go to physical therapy. It's right here at Rothman. 6 weeks of physical therapy. My shoulders, I haven't been back since. Shoulder's been fine. From diagnosis to discharge, Rothman Orthopedics, full spectrum of everything that you're looking for. So obviously if you need a hip replacement, knee replacement, you have a real problem with your knee, Rothman's where you want to go, right? Maybe your joints are aching. Maybe your hands are cramping. Maybe it's a back issue. Rothman's got you. And we're talking about specialized care. They got a guy for that, right? So hip, knee, spine, they're laser focused on whatever part of the body's giving you problems. And you don't have to be a 9 out of 10 on the pain threshold. Maybe you're a 6. Maybe you're a 5. Maybe it's just when you run or you play golf or you do certain things, right? You want to go to Rothman as well. Rothman Orthopedics, specializing in orthopedics. And you visit rothmanortho.com/PHLY to learn more and to make an appointment. That's rothman.ortho. rothmanortho.com/PHLY. Yeah. All right, TrueMark Financial Credit Union. Holiday shopping. You know what happens, right? You put it on your credit card, and then you realize you're like, holy crap, I charged $2,000. I charged $3,000. Oh, I don't really have that in the checking account right now. So what do? Here's one thing you don't do. You don't get interest charges. You don't accrue APR of 24% or whatever it is. You transfer the balance. I'm the king of transferring balances. Trust me. So check it out. That's what you can do right now. 0 interest until 2026. TrueMark Financial's offering 0 interest on balance transfers for 12 months. All your payments are going to go right towards your balance, not just covering interest. Transfer your existing balance from another institution to TrueMark Financial Visa credit card. Take advantage of this amazing offer. You have to apply by the end of February 28th, 2025. Whether you're interested in earning rewards, cash back, or simply prefer a low rate for everyday purchases, TrueMark Financial can choose the credit card that best fits your financial needs. Visit TrueMark.com/compare for full details and to apply today. TrueMark Financial, federally insured by the NCUA, equal opportunity lender. Terms and conditions apply. All loans subject to approval. 3% balance transfer fee applies. Standard rates apply after the promotional rate. There you go. All right, we're back. So yeah, Zach Ertz was... You talk about like a really good signing for Washington, young quarterback. You can see why they wanted to sign him. Young quarterback, safety valve. When he needs something, Ertz, he may not run after he catches it, but damn, he'll catch it and fall down and get a first down. And he had over 100 yards yesterday, 11 catches. He was amazing. So he loses, and I saw him embrace Nick Sirianni after the game. He goes back. I saw a video of him going into the tunnel, and fans are showering him with affection, not beer, affection, because we love Zach Ertz. And then he's walking down through the tunnel. Do you have the video, Tyler? So he's walking in the tunnel, and Fletcher Cox. So he's waiting. I guess he's saying hi to people or whatever. So you'll see, and play the video. You'll see Zach Ertz, and he turns around. There he is. He's like crying. He sees him. He's walking over to Fletch. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Getting comfortable. 7, 8, 10, 11. It went on for a good almost 30 seconds, that hug. That was an uncomfortable hug. Were you uncomfortable watching that, Tyler? Did you watch the thing in its entirety?
Yeah, no, I wasn't. This is two long-term friends, long-time buddies. No, I have no issue with that. No,
and I'm not talking like it was just like I always put it from my perspective, right? Like if I was being hugged that long, I would want him to all right, man, I got it. I'm okay. I only lost. I have the Super Bowl. I don't know. I just thought it was funny. It takes you into, like you had said, the relationship between the two players, the former teammates.
Yeah, I mean, you talk about you brought up Ertz's numbers, right? And 11 catches yesterday, 16 targets, 100+ yards. And I know that the discourse is like the no yak Zach thing is back, right? And it's always kind of been the conversation. He had 66 receptions this year for 654 yards, 7 touchdowns. You pair that with the fact that he had 18 receptions in the postseason for just shy of about 180 yards and a touchdown. So you're talking about a guy with 84 receptions for about 830 yards and 8 TDs at 34 years old.
Yeah, he was good.
It's a pretty darn good year for Zach Ertz.
So Yabusele was at the game, and it's just like a random picture where if you're like, and I knew what I was looking at before I looked, but if I would have taken if someone had just showed me the picture, would you have been able to? Because in the picture, you can't tell he's 6'8", can you? I don't think you can.
I no, because he's in a sea of fans, so like.
He blends in.
So it was funny too, because I saw the picture and I finally realized, I'm like, oh, that's Yabusele. Like I'm trying to figure out, like, because I saw the picture and I was trying to figure out what I was looking at, and I see Yabusele like grinning from ear to ear, cheesing, watching the game, having a great time. And my first reaction was like, he's just chilling with the people. He's just in with the fans.
Enjoying it, brother.
Just having a great time. He took the game in. He was having a blast. And you could see, too, that picture, like I said, big smile on his face. He looked like he was just having a great time. He tweeted after the game it was his first NFL game. Picked a good one to go to.
Yeah, I'd say so. Well, hey, listen, he comes to Philly. He's here, right? It's like everybody's Eagles. So yeah, he scores a ticket. You had said this before the show. How's he not in a box somewhere?
Well, that was my thought. Was like, I'm surprised he didn't end up sitting in a box somewhere.
He wanted full blown Eagle experience.
Yeah, brother. He just enjoyed the game, and it's funny too, because like he's one of the few Sixers players this year that people are speaking highly of. Right? It was a low 1-year signing, money wise, low money. He's been huge for them. For a team that's not been very good, he's been one of their few really good, signings one of their few great pickups this season.
They essentially signed him off his performance in the Olympics.
Yeah.
And then people were like, oh, this will be awesome. I'm like, yeah, well, who knows if he can actually play like that in the NBA. He's been good.
He's playing like that. And he's shooting more threes than he ever has before.
They're wasting him. He's been really good.
Yeah, it was cool to see. He just looked like he was having a blast at that game.
So one of my favorite things from the weekend was the Washington takeover, the Washington Commanders fan takeover of the city. Oh, they're going to fill Lincoln Financial Field. It's going to feel like a home game for Washington. I did a radio hit in Honolulu, in Hawaii, with my buddy Gary Dickman on Thursday. I think it was Friday. Yeah, because he saw my tweet about the tickets, how much the tickets are going for or whatever. And then he brings up like, I saw a story saying that a lot of these tickets are being gobbled up by people from the DC area. And he's like, do you think that it's going to be really loud for Washington? And I was like, no. Yeah, sure. I'm sure there's going to be Washington fans there. You know when you're going to hear them? If they're winning big in the fourth quarter or they win. That's when you're going to hear from them. You're not going to hear from them otherwise. And then the Dove Kleeman guy on Twitter or whoever runs that account, after seeing Washington fans at the Hard Rock freaking Cafe on Market Street, which is fine. I've been to the place. It's fine. Which is attached to a hotel. It's like, oh yeah, the 500 people that are staying at that hotel in a 68,000 people capacity stadium. Yeah, they're going to take it over. They're going to take the stadium over. Oh yeah. I'm going to think I'm at old RFK and the Hogs and the Eagles are playing. Do you have the guy gives he gives like a speech at the Hard Rock Cafe. I put it in Slack. If you didn't record it and you can't get it right now, it's not a big deal. But you have a Commander fan. So the Hard Rock Cafe is attached to a hotel, which is next to a hotel, which is across the street from a hotel, which is across the street from a hotel. So, like, if you're going to go to a place where you get like the Hard Rock Cafe, I don't know how many people or how busy it is as opposed to maybe some of the like the restaurants in the restaurant scene, but it's probably a good spot to go if you're an out of towner that is here for a sporting event, right? And man, they packed it, and then they were outside and they were chanting and yelling and doing Commander stuff or whatever. I actually thought it was really cool. The Commanders have been so pathetic and such a bad organization. And then finally, and they have a young quarterback, and I'm not telling you that I'm rooting for them because they're going to be good because that kid's good. But like I was like, you know what? I remember when the Sixers were bad forever. Well, they didn't make a championship game, but you know what I mean? Like when the Eagles are finally back or your team's good, the Phillies are back, man. It feels so good. It's so fresh, right? The Commanders, they've been not even in purgatory. They've been in hell for 2 decades, 3 decades. So here's this poor Washington fan the night before thinking they have a chance, giving a big speech. It's cringeworthy a little bit. All right. Well, if we can't hear it, we can't hear it. But he's all juiced up. Listen, I could have seen myself. It was similar to Knicks fans in Philadelphia last year. Like, they knew they were better than the Sixers. They knew they were going to beat the Sixers. I felt like they were going to beat the Sixers, right? So they came down here confident, and they were chomping at the bit. And then the game's over, and they're getting aggressive, and they're getting cocky, and they're yelling and screaming after they win. All right, try to play it again. Uh-oh. All right, and they did deserve it. They got it was fun for them before the game started, and then the game started. So actually, I when I saw it, I was amused by the whole situation. But yeah, the Washington fan takeover was one of the funniest things or the best things from this weekend. Philly fun fact: Jalen Hurts has now thrown 206 consecutive postseason passes without an interception. It's 9 passes shy of an NFL record, set by Drew Brees. Are you kidding me with this guy? Like, at what point do we just have to look at him and say he's an excellent quarterback? He's not trying to shine anything. He's just trying to win. Yesterday, mistake-free football. Not even maybe one throw kind of close to an interception, but like there hasn't even been instances where you can say like, wow, they got lucky on that one. Maybe a fumble here or there, you're recovering as a whole, but hasn't even come close to turning the ball over, which is unbelievable. It's an unbelievable run this team's on. And so another thing I noted here, I saw this and we have no audio on the show right now. People are saying?
No. I think it was just from the clip. Yeah, I guess it was only running on our end.
Well, that's all right. So I actually like this. This brings me great joy because the Chiefs have become kind of this team that people hate, and some of it's Pat Mahomes. The other thing is when you win 2 Super Bowls in a row, who wants to see you win 3 Super Bowls in a row? I don't. Like Travis Kelce may be more popular because of Taylor Swift. It doesn't mean that people like him more because of Taylor Swift. Actually, probably the opposite of it. And then you get the Eagles. Tush push Nick Sirianni. I think it has more to do with the fans and the reputation of the fans and how annoying we are than anything else. But like that's what it is. But I'd seen this. This was from somebody in Boston, a media member in Boston. Let's not kid ourselves. We'll be watching, but yes, this was the worst possible outcome of the weekend. It was. Eagles win and the Chiefs win. I mean, like, I guess I was rooting for the Bills just because the Chiefs are the better team. Tyler, that game played out exactly how we thought it was going to play out.
Exactly
how we thought it was going to play out.
Every Chiefs game over the last 3 years play itself out. Here's the thing. I agree with you. I wanted the Bills in this one too. And there was like a weird dynamic of like, I would prefer the Bills because I think they're an easier matchup for the Eagles.
Totally agree.
And I also would prefer the Bills just because I'm tired of seeing the Chiefs in the Super Bowl. The Bills, I think the thing with the Bills that I kind of had this sense of was if the Bills were to win this game, this almost felt like it was going to be the Bills' Super Bowl. The Chiefs are their Darth Vader evil empire.
Yeah, they're not fazed by this.
They can't get over that hump. And it's one of those things I think about, like the 2004 Eagles, where they got over the NFC Championship hump finally. My dad had brought up to me earlier, in the day, the 80 Eagles, like slaying the Dallas Cowboys in 80 was basically their Super Bowl.
You're right.
Nothing left for the Raiders in the Super Bowl. I almost feel that would have been the case with the Bills, where slaying the mighty Chiefs would have been like, oh, finally.
Right.
With that being said, the Chiefs, I think, are the better of those two teams, and I'm not surprised this game played out the way that it did. I think the better of the two teams did end up winning the game.
And forget like Kareem Hunt, he wasn't on a roster. Was that like halfway through the season? Whenever Pacheco went down, he's not getting big yards per carry, but they're using him because they know what they can get out of him. He had a touchdown. He had a pretty decent catch. It was just one catch. But yeah, God, they just find a way to get it done. Well, and Spags is calling blitzes at the exact same
perfect
time.
And then you think about the offensively, right there. It's third down, I think, and the Bills have a timeout left. Maybe they're out of timeouts. They have an opportunity to get off the field. And the Chiefs dial up a play out of the backfield to a guy who hadn't touched the football all game long. And Samaje Perine is standing wide open in the flat. Nobody even near him.
Ball game.
First down, ball game. And that's the thing. Like, that's how the Chiefs win these games, because they are more prepared than every other team in the league.
It's unbelievable.
And that's credit to Andy. It's credit to Spagnuolo. It's credit to Patrick Mahomes. It's credit to this team. That's how they win these games in big situations, because on third and whatever, with an opportunity for maybe the Bills to have the ball with 40 seconds or 30 seconds left, the Chiefs are picking up that first down.
Yep. Was there any doubt? There wasn't a doubt with me. I would have been shocked if they didn't pick up the first down right there. They always do. They're so annoying. God, they're annoying. They're good. They're so annoying. The Josh Allen where Spags blitzes them. I think was that the corner blitz? Or was that another one?
The corner blitz was the one where he launched it up, and I thought Kincaid had a chance.
And by the way, shout out to everybody on TV right now to watch the rest of the show. Switch over to allphly.com. No, and that's my point about that play. How Josh Allen even gets the throw off with that much behind it's unbelievable. KK dropped it. They didn't. You know why we don't know exactly how close it was? They didn't show a freaking replay that we could see. They showed the overhead shot of it. You couldn't actually see what happened with the catch. Yeah, he had to go down to his knees to try to make it. He should have caught it. That's a different game if he makes that catch. Yeah, there was no replay that was shown. God, Tony Romo's awful.
He's been terrible.
Even when he brings up a couple of good points over the course of the game, because he does actually have some insights, he's so annoying.
Well, I thought the one thing that I thought he and Nance both did a good job, and Nance is great. He's one of the best, I think. But the one thing he and Nance did that I thought was poignant was they pointed out on the Josh Allen quarterback sneaks. Josh Allen likes to go off the left guard's hip. He just feels more comfortable going that way. And they pointed out and said, hey, man, if we're seeing this, Spagnuolo's seeing this. And they stopped them on 4th and goal, down towards the goal line. And then I think they ended up stopping a quarterback sneak twice on 4th and short, because Josh Allen ran the same way both times. And if you're Joe Brady and you're Sean McDermott, you have to say, listen, I know you like going off the right hip of the left guard, but they know it's coming. You either need to give a stutter step and go right, or you need to just go right.
Can't do the same thing.
Can't do the same thing again.
Yeah. Yeah, it was 4th and 5 from Buffalo 47, 2 minutes to go. Allen, Kincaid, I don't know how bad he dropped it, because I never saw a freaking replay that showed it. But if they get a first down, I mean, that's at least like a 15, 20-yard throw, right?
Sure. He had to throw at 40 to get 15.
Holy cow, man. It was unbelievable. They get it. That's a fresh set of downs. Now you're in field goal range for the most part. And God, they just always get a stop. The Chiefs are so good. You know what? They're a lot. I think the Eagles are flashier than the Chiefs just because they have Saquon, but they're similar teams. They really are.
Yeah, I think this year they are. Two really good defenses, two teams that are willing to grind you out. And I think these two teams are going to try to punch each other in the mouth. It's going to be punch, counter punch in the Super Bowl. I think it's going to be a vastly different game than the one you saw 2 years ago.
Yep.
I think both defenses are better. I think this is going to be one of those games where it's like, who blinks first?
Yep.
Might lose the game.
Well, I mean, what happened the Jalen Hurts turnover that was a scoop and score, that was the difference in the game. Right? That one turnover.
Sure. I guess from a statistical standpoint, yeah. I mean, from a box score standpoint, you're correct.
So can the Eagles continue this turnover streak? It's been pretty amazing. Shout out to everybody
really
on there. Our live chat, Mad Chatters. You can watch every day live at 8 o'clock. Get involved in the conversation with the show as we grow our community. Here at PHLY, subscribe, smash the subscribe button, like audio podcast people out there that are listening. Thank you. Thank you. You can subscribe and listen to the podcast whenever, wherever you get your podcast. Just search Philly with John Marks. We're back live tomorrow at 8 a.m. See ya.
We all silly like the mayor.